All right. Welcome back to What She Said. It is Sunday nights. Sunday night. All right. So yesterday was unbeknownst to me. Well, this weekend, not yesterday. Friday, April 4th was 404 day. This weekend was 404 day in Atlanta. All sorts of shenanigans, uh, traffic, people everywhere. I had no idea this existed. Remember, I'm not from here, but I've talked to people who from here. They ain't really know either. So I would just say the city was taken over by 404 weekend. By 404 weekend, some say it was reminiscent of Freaknik. All I know is I left and tried to get back, and it didn't work out. I left the house thinking I was coming right back, and that turned into a few hours. So I had to message my members and say, "Hey guys, I miss y'all tonight. I'll be back tomorrow." And here I am, Sunday night. All right. So I'm coming in on the heels of Ain't Too Hard to Find Showcase. Now, I already have some content locked and loaded for the audio podcast, and it pertains to Shilo. And then, of course, I talked about Shedeur. So tonight we're talking about Shedeur and Shilo. Um, some people think they should plan a funeral for Shiloh's career in terms of football, and I'm like, no. And it just tells you that when people are commenting, they don't understand football. Know that different positions, QBs have a different expectancy for the 40-yard dash from than wide receivers. Wide receivers are expected to be the fastest out of everybody. And then there's safeties. They have a different expectation on the 40-yard dash. So we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about Shedeur. I'm like, I just kind of wanted to take the pulse of different analysts after it happened. Not necessarily the typical analysts that we hear from, like an NFL Network, but other media outlets. And they had really good things to say about Shedeur. So, and then, of course, I posted it in community. I don't know if you had a chance to see the post section in the What She Said page for community under the community tab. There was a very heartfelt letter, which actually led to a tear or two from Jimmy Horn Jr. Sr. So I posted it there. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to read it aloud. It's just another testament to what kind of stand-up guy Coach Prime is. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome back. And we're going to give the gang a moment or two to join us. And we're going to be right here. Then we're going to get going. So welcome back everybody. All right, so let's see if I can find... Let's see if I can find the video. Let's see. So did everybody have a good weekend? It's actually raining here in Atlanta. We were actually inundated with, it's been raining, I would say, probably since about 2 p.m. on. A thunderstorm came through, and that's just what we're left with. It's still raining right now. So let me know how your weekend went. If you care to put it into the chat, drop me an emoji. That's what I typically say. Drop me an emoji and let me know how you're doing. All right. So video is loading and we're going to get going. All right. So Shilo, one thing we can say about Shilo is that it's undeniable. You can't dispute it. He works really hard. He does. It's not like he rests on his laurels when it comes to his last name being a Sanders. Oh, my dad's Coach Prime, so I'm going to be fine. No. And what did we hear Coach Prime say toward the back end of last year? Shiloh's going to have to work his butt off. And that he did. Now, we know he didn't get invited to the combine, along with some other players, in my opinion, who should have been invited to the combine. And we talked about why that could have been, and the fact that the Big 12 only had 34 players from the Big 12 overall to go to the combine. And I started to think about it. I said, I wonder if the Big 12 didn't have as many players, even with Arizona State going to the semifinals for the Natty, because Colorado has its own Big 12 showcase, which is like a combine. And not that that's right. I don't believe other conferences have it, but it kind of makes me feel like the people who are doing the guest list, if you will, for the combine, it's like, well, they're going to be at the Big 12 Pro Day, so maybe they don't need to come here. That's kind of what I was thinking, because I didn't understand why the Big 12 only had, the Big 12 has 16 schools, but only 34 invites to the combine, whereas, You look at a school like Alabama, who was not in the top 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And almost every draft eligible person from Alabama went to the combine. And what did I say once the combine invites came out? And Colorado only had, at the time, it was only 3. And really, Shedeur and Travis, and they don't even count my opinion. So outside of Shedeur and Travis, it was just Jimmy Horn Jr. And then when the Shrine Bowl came along, they added LaJohntay Wester. But then who's wowing at the showcase for CU's Pro Day? Will Sheppard. So he should have been invited. There was no reason why he should have been invited. And for the people who are ready to put together a funeral procession for Shilo, there's no reason Shilo should not have been invited to the combine. Shilo actually said it, and he was right. He should have been at the combine. All right, so let's talk about Shilo. All right, so if you heard, Shilo ran, he had 3 runs that I know of, okay? And it's documented that he ran like a 4.52 and a 4.59. So a 4.52 and a 4.59. But he also ran a 4.47. So like there's an unofficial run, and then you have your official runs. So his 4.47 was, I guess, an unofficial run, or maybe it was an official run, but there's timers that were photographed at the combine, because there's cameras everywhere, showing he ran a 4.47. But that's not the time they took. They took the 4.52 and the 4.59. So even if you take the 4.52, it's okay. You know why? The average at the combine, which Shilo didn't get invited to, was 4.37 or 4.59. Shilo's end matched their end. But his first 2 runs was actually better than the average of the safeties where? In the NFL. The average is a 4.55. So if the average in the NFL is a 4.55 and Shilo ran a 4.47 and a 4.52, that means he's above average for NFL safeties. At the combine, had he been at the combine, then he ran a 4.47 and a 4.52 and a 4.59, he would have been between the marks of 4.37 and 4.59. So he would have been spot on. There was no reason for Shilo or Will Sheppard not to be invited to the combine. None. And people say it's because their last name is Sanders. I'm like, well, Will Sheppard's last name is not Sanders, and he still didn't get invited. My philosophy, what I believe, my theory, was because then if Will Sheppard and Shilo had gone, don't forget about Cameron Silver-Craig, it would have been Travis, Shedeur, Jimmy Horn Jr., LaJohntay, I'm at 4, Shilo, Will Sheppard, Cameron Silver-Craig, that's 7. That meant Colorado would have had the most players from the Big 12 to go to the combine. They weren't having it. We saw how hard they fought to make sure Colorado got knocked out of the Big 12. By what? Letting Kansas play dirty against CU. I mean, nothing kills momentum more than dirty play. Because it's like you damned if you do, so you might as well not. Now, CU didn't play its best ball, but it didn't help to have refs, one standing in Travis's way, others, overlooking the fact that somebody's trying to end Shedeur's career before it starts at the knees. So no, that wasn't our best game, but that does not mean we deserve to be cheated out of it. And then we know the Kansas State game. So when it comes to Colorado, there are forces, little collabs, that keep trying to pull away at this situation. So now it's gone from Coach Prime and his recruiting, people trying to stall that by saying he's leaving. He has a long-term contract, class of 2026, knocking on the door. The draft is coming up. They fighting real hard to make sure no one says out loud what people learned after the A2 Hard to Find showcase when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. What fans have been saying, I see why he's the best player in college football. 74% accuracy, I looked up on, I like to ask AI every now and then what they think about certain things. So I asked what they think about Shedeur. We're going to talk about it. So let's talk about the things that were said about Shilo, the great things that were said about Shilo. Remember, in 2023, Shilo was the what? Hardest hitting safety in college football. You heard me say when watching Colorado, when Shilo was out, we missed his ability to track down the receiver speed. We missed that while he was gone. So just give you a quick little tidbit on what was said about Shilo. He works hard. Any team that gets Shilo is getting a hard worker who is not resting on his dad's name, who's independent, just like the rest of the siblings. So hold on one second. Let's see if I can find it. So I just wanted to like keep track of what people were saying about Shilo. Here it is here. His max speed was 21.5 miles an hour, which is in the what? 92nd percentile. So 97 is away, 7 away from 100. 97 percentile, 92nd percentile. That's good actually. Because if you're in the 92nd percentile for height, that means you're pretty damn tall. That means you're taller than average. So that means Shiloh's speed was better than average. 4.52, better than average. 4.47, better than average for a safety, not a wide receiver. Shilo is a safety. His speed is above average for the safeties in the NFL, who typically run at 4.55. I remember looking that up when I was trying to familiarize myself with what the speed should be when Shilo started working out on his own, getting ready for the combine. He did a great job with improving his speed. And I'm sure he's just like anybody else. I'm going to run a 4.37. I'm going to run a 4.52. I'm going to run a 4.59. Hell, if I keep running, I might get slower. I'm not going to stay consistent the whole way through. I mean, at some point, fatigue going to set in, right? Jimmy Horn Jr., he ran a 4.40. Now, he was a 4.44 or 4.45 at the combine. At CU, he was a 4.40. That's pretty good. Hell, some say one of his unofficial times was a 4.37. So Shiloh's max speed was 21.5, 92nd percentile. Shiloh's recorded an 80.8 on the IGA score. So I remember looking at websites and they had scores for players. Shilo was at 80 when the combine invites went out. I remember seeing it. And then I went over to Alabama and I looked at the scores of their players that went to the combine. And they had some 80s, just like Shilo had. And I was like, Shilo was right. He should have gone to the combine. But they left him out. Maybe they felt like Big 12 Pro Day is enough for the Big 12 players. Because again, there's only 34. Do y'all think with only 34 players coming from the Big 12 conference, that makes players look away from the Big 12 and look at maybe the SEC or maybe the ACC? Because they're like, well, I mean, if I'm trying to get to the NFL and Coach Prime's son, who did well, was snubbed, and they only had 34 players from the Big 12, and even Arizona State went to the semifinals for the Natty, and they still only had 34 players from the Big 12. Maybe I should go to the ACC. Maybe I should go to the SEC. Do y'all believe that there's an impact on recruiting with players shying away from the Big 12? And I mean, when I say players, I mean your top 5, your top 10, your most highly recruited. And I'm not just talking about CU because we have Coach Prime. All other schools don't have Coach Prime. This is a conference-wide problem. See, people felt like it was just a Shedeur Sanders or a Coach Prime and his kids problem. No, only 34 players from the Big 12 were invited to the combine. That's a problem. That makes people look at the SEC. Oh, if I just go to Alabama, I want to get drafted. In fact, I heard Michael Parsons and Another person, he was on his show. That he was asked why he went to Alabama. He said, because I wanted to get drafted. We lost Lakai Hill Green to Alabama. They say because of grad eligibility. He's at Alabama. I'm sure he wants to get drafted. So that's my question to y'all while we continue on. We're going to pivot from Shilo to Shedeur. Do you believe that with only 34 players being invited to the combine, the NFL combine, from the entire conference that has about 16 schools for the Big 12, if that hurts or has a negative impact on recruiting and makes players, top elite players, look at other programs in other conferences who have way more players going to the combine? Even if they don't make it to the top 10, if they don't make it to the semifinals at the Natty. Let's see. Hey, y'all. Okay, we're seeing who in the chat. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Crowley. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Gracie. I'm good. I'm good. Ducking and dodging 404 weekend here in Atlanta. Hey, Regina. Welcome back. Hey, Damon. How you doing? How you doing? Kiel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So that was my question to y'all. All right. So let's see. Was there anything else? Okay. It says Shiloh's straight line speed is real, right? 447, 442, 459. What the average in the NFL for a safety is 455. At the NFL Combine this year, safeties ran from a 437 to a 459. Shilo had 2 runs above average and 1 that was average. He's not going to be working at McDonald's. Sorry to tell the people who were like calling him slow. He's far from slow. I bet you couldn't catch him. He's far from slow, and I bet he can catch you too. And it says Shilo covers ground in a flash. What did we say? That's what we talked about. That was one of the biggest assets that we had with Shilo, which is why I think he wanted to come back so soon after he broke his arm. And even though he wasn't 100%, you can't hate the man for wanting to come back because, you know, we don't want to lose. You can't be mad. And did he realize he was that rusty after being out for 3 weeks? No. But what did he do when he realized it? He said it. That was the worst game of my life. He's been playing a lot. He's playing football since he was little. That was the worst game of his life. And what did he do? He dug in. Shilo dug in, did the work, and came back. And I never forget, first game back, I think he had a quarterback blitz right out the gate. So had he not had that injury, what would have been the reason or the excuse for not inviting him to the combine? Because I know you didn't invite him. Are you saying you didn't invite him because he had an injury and had one bad game, but last year he was the hardest hitting safety? This year he's amongst the top 2 or 3? It said Shilo covers ground in a flash and brings urgency as a downhill striker. You don't leave that undrafted. They were saying, oh, he's not going to the NFL. He needs to pick up a camera. People calling him slow after the combine. So I was on Threads. The conversation continues on Threads. So on Threads, this is what I said. So there's always engaging conversation on Threads, and I'm always willing, never shy to hop in the comments. So let's see. I had to educate the folks. I was like, Google is free. If you just ask the internet, what is the average 40-yard dash run time for a safety in the NFL, it will tell you. So I was like, let me share, since, some people just too lazy to look it up. How do you not know? How are you ignorant and uninformed, and you are trying to end this man's career? Like, you're not wrong. That's what's interesting to me. It's like the people who wanted to say that Shilo was slow didn't even know that a safety running a 4.52 is above average in the NFL. Let's see here. I got to click on replies. Okay, so they were saying, oh, people were asking, I don't know why y'all wouldn't post that Shilo ran a 447. They posted he ran a 459. They might have murmured that he ran a 452, but people were like, clearly you could see the photos with the timers coming in at 447. So people were saying that. So it's like 452 is not great. It's not a great time. I hope he gets drafted. I said standard times for safeties in the NFL is 455. He ran a 447, a 452, and a 459, which is just fine. The first two times are actually above average. Somebody was like, he's still a late round prospect. See, that's hoping and wishing. How do you know he's a late round prospect? If he has 2 out of 3 times above average and the third one is average, why does he have to be a late round prospect? You didn't even know. You thought a 452 was bad for a safety. That's above average. And now you come in with the knowledge speak saying that what? He's going to be a late round prospect based on what? And that's the kind of people that are commenting on the internet. And unfortunately, there's a few people that have been hired by these big box networks and they speak the same foolishness, rubbish. There was a lady, they called her out on Threads. She said something about the CU Pro Day. Travis didn't even work out. People were like, lady, did you even watch it? She said Travis didn't work out. I know I saw Travis running routes. Didn't y'all see Travis running routes? These are people that collect checks. These people don't do no homework and they work for the internet and they're putting this information out there. I'm like, at this point, my suggestion is the NFL network and some of these other networks where this lady work, just go ahead and get some of these YouTube channels out here who are actually really good at analysis. I mean, real analysis. And it's enough YouTubers out here who will be really good at reporting, who could actually have watched the CU Pro Day, who could verify that Travis was right there. I heard so much misinformation. Travis didn't work out. New York Giants didn't bother to show up. I saw Coach Prime talking to the man. Let's see, who else? Oh, let's see. 6 or 7 deep from the Titans. They said the Titans wasn't even showing up. I heard it several times. The Titans weren't planning to come. All 32 teams were represented. Here's what you didn't hear. That certain teams were 6 and 7 scouts deep. Did anybody say anything about the QB coach for the Saints as well as the wide receiver coach for the Saints having a conversation with Coach Prime? And now there's speculation that Shedeur could go to the Saints, right? I'm like, so what team y'all think Shilo gonna go to? I could just go ahead on and put on a Falcons sweater right now. You think Shilo couldn't go to the Falcons? Shilo is a track down safety. You really think he couldn't go to 32 teams in the NFL? That's the kind of misinformation that's being put out about Travis and Shedeur. So, okay, that was, Shilo and Shedeur. That was Shilo, right? So Shilo did well. He did well for himself. I don't know if you could say he increased his draft stock because who says that he's a late round pick in the first place? I said he was a late second round pick. That's what I said. And I don't see why he wouldn't be. I don't see why he wouldn't be. Just because you didn't invite him to the combine clearly does not mean that he's not a good safety. That was just politics. Just like Shedeur. So when it comes to Shedeur, fans walked away believing Shedeur is actually better than Cam. Shedeur is pro ready. The nonsense about him having a weak arm is just lunacy. So this is what the internet found. I told y'all AI is a scraper of information. It does not have the ability to think. That's generative AI, and we still a ways away. But AI in general is kind of like Siri, just 2.0, right? So when it comes to Shedeur, I asked the question, What makes Shedeur Sanders a great quarterback? It says Shedeur Sanders is a great quarterback prospect for the NFL due to his exceptional accuracy, strong arm. Let me say it again. Strong arm. You can't be accurate with a weak arm. You see, the two don't work. Poise, and ability to make plays under pressure. Now, we know that, right? I rewatched the last 2 minutes of the Baylor game. That video is now at 600,000 views. Now, remember, this is a Colorado game. It's not like it was an NFL game. For that last 2 minutes to have 600,000 views, there's a lot there. It's a reminder that Shedeur had already been sacked 8 times in the Baylor game. 8. EIGHT. We saw Shedeur what? Throwing on the run. I heard what I call some bobblehead reporters who were really they were some haters. I call them bobblehead haters disguised as reporters. Oh, we really want to see Shedeur throw on the run. We haven't really seen him throw on the run. Did you not watch the Baylor game? Shedeur ran for his life for 2 seasons at CU. Funny how he didn't have to run for his life at Jackson State. They had some O-lines over there. But they didn't have one first year at CU. No matter how many times Shedeur took those guys out to dinner. Because they were playing politics. In the NFL, the term is they were making business decisions. Well, they ain't have no business decisions to make at CU in the first year. I mean, they could have. They could have actually blocked for him, won some games, but no, they let somebody who probably offered them a little desk job or a job at a car dealership. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. And did it work? No. Shedeur was still on the stage at the Heisman. We knew he wasn't going to win it no way because the most dynamic player in college football is his brother and teammate, Travis Hunter. So keeping him out of the top 5, relegating him to 6, or so he couldn't come on to the stage, long as he was outside of whoever was on the stage, was good for them. But guess where he was? He sat on the stage with Travis, Shedeur, and Coach Prime. So that attempt failed. CU still went to a bowl game. Coach Prime still got his contract. Travis still won the Heisman. And I want people to understand that the people who chose not to protect for Shedeur were taking down the whole team, their teammates included, including Travis. You were trying to stop Travis as well. You can't just stop Shedeur because it's not a 2-person game. You allowed your politics and your bias and some type of probably financial motivation to have you to betray your entire team and your own goals. And your own goals. Your own finances. See, one thing about temporary gains, it's just that. But imagine had they played to the best of their abilities in season 1. Imagine had they played to win. And we went 3-0. And then we maybe lost to Oregon. But maybe it would have been a close game. But then the rest, let's say maybe we'd have won the rest. Maybe we went 10-2. Losing to Oregon and somebody else. I just give you that. Imagine the conversation for the entire team. Shedeur and Travis still got discussed. This year, Jimmy Horn Jr. was hurt. Jimmy Horn Jr. was actually supposed to be interviewed or on the NFL Network during Pro Day. As much as the media only want to see Travis and Shedeur, and in some respects, Jimmy Horn Jr. cannot be denied. Will Shepherd running a 40.5 vertical is still being discussed and will continue to be discussed because that is exceptional. That is above average. 38.5 is average. That means he's above average. BJ Green, a lineman, running a 4.59. Damn good for a lineman. So for all of the hatred being spewed, the attempts to knock, CU out of the Big 12, we went where we were supposed to go, to the Alamo Bowl, and we lost miserably. So maybe we didn't need to go no further. Maybe we didn't need to go no further. Maybe we needed to lose at the Alamo Bowl so we could get it together. And when it comes to the big games, next time, next bowl game, because we're going back to a bowl game, we will be good. I think we're going to be hella good this year. So Shedeur Sanders, with the highest completion percentage and experience, along with his poise, strong arm, strong, and they left out deep ball accuracy. If you watch the showcase, you saw one particular play to Jimmy Horn Jr. And if I don't see those two on the same team, the NFL is just bad when it comes to business. Jimmy Horn Jr. caught a dot, D-O-T, delivered on time from Shedeur. And he was so elated on the sideline, he just did a freestanding backflip and landed on his feet. You can't deny Jimmy Horn Jr., just like you can't deny the chemistry that Jimmy Horn Jr. and Shedeur Sanders has. Those two, we talked about this. We said they should be on the same team. After the showcase, they absolutely need to be on the same team. I'm going to keep saying it. Considering it was the QB coach and the wide receiver coach from the Saints talking to Coach Prime, and Coach Prime said after his interview with Louis Riddick that he likes the black and gold. Should Alvin Kamara, because I don't really know a lot of Saints players, but I know Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, Shedeur Sanders, Jimmy Horn Jr., New Orleans Saints. And then fans said, hell, Shedeur Sanders to the Saints and Cooper Flagg to the Pelicans, New Orleans sports will be resurrected. I would agree with that. Right in time for Easter. Right in time for Easter. If I hear Jimmy Horn Jr.'s name, if Shedeur goes to the Saints and they say Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to the Saints, oh my. Or Pittsburgh, these two have to end up on the same team. It's just good football. It's good business. So Shedeur is that guy. All of the talk about his weak arm, it was insane to me to listen to reporters who, by the way, were dispelling his experience and his play all the while they were talking. I'm assuming they couldn't see that on the bottom of the screen fixed was his stats. 4,100 yards, but yet he was sacked 4,100 yards, but yet he was sacked more than anybody else and still got it done. I believe that's what they mean when they say ability to make plays under pressure. See, here's the thing. We have not seen that from Cam Ward yet. And Coach Prime called it out during Super Bowl week when he had the interview with ESPN that's sitting at 1 million views right now. Coach Prime said, people talk about these QBs, but then when they get to the NFL, they freeze up. How many? I probably can pull a couple of drafts for the last 5 drafts, right? I probably can pull the last 5 drafts and have name off QBs, and I want y'all to tell me where they at. Where are they now? You know what I mean? Because why? It's just one of those things that when they get to the NFL, the term bust is used, their careers length. Look at Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence, if I'm not mistaken, just got another huge contract. And for what? So, the black QBs have to earn it. Too many of the white QBs, it's given to them. And then they just dissipate. Careers who's the one that came and went in 4 years flat? He got his 4-year contract and that was it. I forget his name. I have to look him up. I feel like he came in with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, but whatever. Came in 4 years, that was it. Drafted top 5, top 6, gone. Don't even talk about it. And they're talking about, Shedeur should go to the Giants because the Giants really don't have any QBs. I mean, they can't rely on Jameis Winston and Russell because we know what they can do. I'm like, didn't Russ take his team to the playoffs this year? And he had 10 Pro Bowls? What the hell are they talking about? This is just like the lady saying Matter of factly, Travis Hunter didn't even work out. I'm like, lady, we all saw Travis. What the hell were you watching? They don't even bother to watch the games. They didn't bother to watch the showcase. If you could say Travis Hunter did not work out at CU's Pro Day, which was aptly named Ain't Too Hard to Find Showcase, and we all saw him, you didn't watch it or you don't know who Travis Hunter is. Just get some YouTubers. ESPN has taken a shine to Duke Dennis and Speed. I Show Speed and what's his name? Y'all know the other one. I don't know his name, but just get them to do it. Just get them to do it. Because, I mean, honestly, at least they probably going to watch it. At least they probably going to watch it. Now, I know that they are into basketball, but you need to find some YouTubers who are into football and just get them to cover Pro Day, Ain't Too Hard to Find Showcase 2026. Do not send whoever had microphones that were active from the NFL network next year. Do not. Please do not. Somebody who was not a part of the crew had to come along and defend Shedeur when they said he can't throw on the run. They were like, no, the Baylor game. I'm like, what? So if you're not gonna bother to watch it, then just shh. And if you have bias and prejudice in your heart, just take a PTO day and get somebody else to do it. But to just make up shit or lie, fabricate, it's just not a good look. Shedeur has been media trained better than anybody else out here. They were asking him, how does he deal with all of the negativity? And he said, I mean, my dad told me that this is what comes with it. He said, I'm one of God's favorite. I'm like, you cannot argue with that. And that shut it all down. But here's the thing. This is not what comes with it. Because in the same week of the showcase, I talked about it a few days ago. People were up, ready to go to war because ESPN analyst put out a 2025 prospectus on college QBs. And he said he didn't understand the hype surrounding Arch Manning, and people went crazy and demanded an apology from ESPN because he didn't have, he just said he didn't understand the hype. Now, think about what's being said about Shedeur. I don't hear anybody demanding apologies. We say we don't like it, but nobody's listening. But nobody stood up and put out a headline that said, so-and-so people are demanding an apology because of what's being said about Shedeur Sanders. I mean, that's a striking difference. So you say whatever you got to say to get past it. And I do believe he's God's favorite. Absolutely. And this is what comes with it when you're God's favorite. But this is not what should come with it when you want to be QB1, top 5 in the NFL draft. But that's what's coming with it. And somebody got to stop it. So let me see what's going on here in the comments. It says, everybody's saying hello to everybody. See, we have a community. Join our community. We go live most days, 9 o'clock. On the weekends, Friday, Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern. It said, how many from Colorado do you think will get drafted? I think I counted last night. I think I said 8. Let me do my list. Just go with the entire wide receiver core. So we have, let's just start with the QB. We have Shedeur, we have Travis, Jimmy, LaJohntay, that's 5. Will Shepherd, that's 6. Cameron Silma-Craig is 7. Shilo is 8. BJ Green, no, it's 7. Lord, I can't count. BJ Green is 8. Shane Cokes, I heard people were saying he will be good on the practice squad. I don't know why they put him there. 8, that's 8. I didn't see Justin Mayer's workout, so I don't know how he did. 8. Oh, the kicker, Mark Bassett. The kicker ran a 4.6. Everybody was impressed with his because the punters don't typically have to run the 40, but he did. I'm gonna go with 9. The punter makes 9. It should be 9. It should be 9. I think the draft lasts what? How many days? Day 2? Is that day 3? If there's a day 3. So here's the thing. I think all 9 will get drafted. There were 16 people in total. I didn't see Travis J. Oh, I forgot about Chidozie. So Chidozie Onwaku did really good as well. And I remember I told y'all Vegas already had their eye on him early on. So that's 8, 9, BJ Green. I want to 10 Chidozie because Chidozie should get drafted. So that means there's 6 people I'm not sure about. Now I will say this. Travis and Shedeur were the only 2 people expected to hear their name called when this whole when we turned the corner from 2024 to 2025. After the combine, Jimmy Horn Jr., the Shrine Bowl, Jimmy Horn Jr., LeJounte. Now after the showcase, Will Shepherd, BJ Green, Chidozie Onwaku. Everybody was expected to be an undrafted free agent. BJ Green could actually be a first round draft pick. The reason why, and I wanted to do a separate, here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to profile BJ Green because I was watching his highlights. One of the reasons they said they don't think he's getting drafted, now listen to this, is because of his height. Now, a man ran a 4.59 as a lineman. He can bench press about the same as Chidozie. And I think was it 225? I think maybe 20 some odd times instead of Chidozie did 30. So I watched BJ Green. His height was not an impediment to him taking down quarterbacks. He led CU with 7 sacks. Now we had Nakai Hill-Green, we had BJ Green. We also had Chidozie, but my memory serves me well. Nakai Hill-Green and BJ Green were 2 players that when you saw somebody every now and then, Shilo, and I said, if Shilo got drafted as to do quarterback blitzes alone, the NFL got their money back. So BJ Green should get drafted. I don't know how you leave somebody out there who's a dog when it comes down to taking down QBs. I didn't see an issue with his height. I don't know what his height has to do with taking down a QB unless they feel that they didn't say his size. They said his height. So I don't know. I heard the guy say something about, when you're out there on the line. So if y'all have any insight, Kiel, I know your brother played in the league and some 22, Gracie, I know her son played. If y'all have any insight on the size in terms of how well he did in college, translating to the pros when it comes to BJ Green, if you think his size will, be like a knock against him, let me know your thoughts. I didn't see it in looking at his highlights though, because he's a dog. He really is. Shilo, a thumper too. He hits and takes and tackles well. Yeah, Shilo is good. And when people kept saying he needs to wrap up, I'm like, he broke his damn arm. Come on. He broke his arm. Y'all would have been upset and would have said he was being a little diva if he wanted to be out the full 6 to 8 weeks. We needed you. You should have came back. We was losing. Okay. You can't have it every kind of way. This ain't Burger King. You have got to decide. If the heart of a man is somebody that works hard, doesn't rely on their family name, is out here doing the work, bringing people in to teach him how to be the best he can at running a 40. He didn't have to do that. He could have said, my daddy gonna get me in. I don't care if I don't get drafted. I'll go as an undrafted free agent. He didn't do that. So they relegated Shane Coates. They were like, he could be on the practice squad. I don't know why. That's just what people keep coming up with. Now, James has said it, and I believe it. We are going to be so surprised as to what happens on draft day. And what's happening right now is the media, sports media, every single day is doing a different mock trying to figure it out because they don't know where Travis is going. They don't know where Travis is going because they're like, well, Tennessee look like they're going to take Cam. So if Shedeur goes to the Browns, then that means Travis is going to the Giants. I was like, well, the Browns scheduled dinner with Shedeur and Travis. So I don't know. Maybe they both going. I don't know. And the Browns, believe it or not, Stefanski, is that the coach for the Browns or some the GM? He said, I don't think it's a reality that Shedeur has an arm, doesn't have a strong arm. He said he's shown it that he can, right? So the Browns coach, and we have talked about this, we said the Browns being crushing on Shedeur, right? When Shedeur was in Vegas, people were saying, oh, he plays PS5. He only plays with the Browns, right? When we saw him before that in Indianapolis with his little backpack, and it had, what teams did it have? The Saints, the Browns, and the Vikings. You know why it had the Vikings? Because J.J. McCarthy is on an island by himself. There's nobody else because they sent Daniel Jones to Indianapolis to prove himself. And if I hear one more person say that Justin Fields needs to prove himself with his 2-year contract and Daniel Jones just got a 1-year contract for $14 million to prove himself, how long has Daniel Jones been in the league and he's still getting paid handsomely to prove himself? $14 million is nothing to sneeze at. Sometimes when you get used to hearing big numbers, you just kind of get desensitized. They paid Daniel Jones 1 year, $14 million to prove himself. Has he not already proven himself? But Justin Fields got to hurry up and get away. I mean, just hurry up and move on. And when I hear people say that, I'm like, do y'all hear yourself? Like, do y'all really hear yourself? So the black players have to earn it and they have to prove themselves. But players like Daniel Jones has until eternity to get it right. Trevor Lawrence can stay quiet as a mouse and keep getting $200 million contracts. Shedeur Sanders get dragged in college, and he's an NFL prospect, should be the number one, probably QB in the draft if the team that he wants to go to can get the number one pick. He's the best QB in the draft. That's what people walked away with after the showcase. If you go look at comments under certain platforms, oh yeah, he's the best QB in the draft. But see, we knew this. They've been working really hard to make sure that's not the case. And then people want to dismiss it by saying, oh, you know, Shedeur Sanders' names bring clicks. Well, find something positive to say to get clicks. Because the optics is just as bad as Sean Payton humiliating, trying to demean and break Russell Wilson. The reporters for the NFL Network sounded bitter and jealous. And is it because Shedeur Sanders sat at the top of the NIL chain, was on the stage at the Heisman, won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, but then he has a weak arm? Nothing that they say matches the reality of what really is. And the showcase gave the fans the opportunity to see for themselves outside of a game setting. And they walked away with a consensus. Shedeur Sanders is the best QB in the draft. But guess what I heard right before I went live? Oh, Jackson Dart is inching up in the top 10 with no explanation as to why. That's the game that's being played right now. So we have to go out here rooting for our guys. See Shilo get snubbed. The whole damn Big 12, only 34 people. BJ Green be snubbed. Shane Coates relegated to the practice squad. The media that did show up that had a mic that was on, unfortunately, at the time, all they could talk about was Travis and Cam Ward. People in the comments were like, Cam Ward already had his pro day. And what they said about Shedeur, 8 out of 10 times was negative. Oh, stay in the pocket. That's where he's best. Oh, but we need to see if he can run, throw on the go. Well, why you didn't watch no film? It's out there. He been playing since Jackson State. He could run on the go in high school. And my thing is, see, I'm from I guess a time period where when you don't know something, you don't speak on it. And what you definitely don't do is drag somebody with information that you haven't even verified. How can I sit up here and say, so and so is a late round prospect if I haven't watched any of their film? How can I say this quarterback has a weak arm if I haven't watched them play? I come from the school of, I mean, you can't speak on what you know, otherwise you lying. And why you lying? And that's where we are. We living in times where people are just willing to lie on NFL draft prospects. Just flat out lying. The stats say they good as hell, the best one out here, but what the words coming out of these bobbleheads' mouths are straight up lies. Oh, he's a pocket passer. That's what he does best. I've seen him run. I've seen him run in touchdowns and do this multiple times. So that's not true. That's not true at all. You can't be sacked as many times as Shedeur was, have 4,000 yards, and stay in the goddamn pocket. He barely ever had time to stay in the pocket before it collapsed because there was a weak O-line on the right side in year 2, and in year 1 was just abysmal. Sacked 52 times. And the man only threw 4 interceptions his first season, being sacked 52 times. So the information is just fabricated. I mean, it's just lies. And it's sad because you want to say the lady who said Travis didn't work out is misinformed. And clearly she is. She either don't know who Travis Hunter is and what he looks like, despite the fact that his shirt said Hunter emblazoned across the back, or she didn't watch it. She didn't even bother to watch it. She just went on cue after she got her makeup done and started yapping. That's why people call it yapping, because you're not saying anything that's substantiated. You just yapping. And then to the NFL Network, just go get some YouTubers. You could have got YouTubers and got a far better experience, giving the fans a far better experience. Because the information and the negativity and the constant talking about Cam, and it wasn't a comparison to Cam to Shedeur. Cam did this, Cam did that. We like, is Cam Ward on the field? We are at Shedeur Sanders Pro Day. Why did you even bother to come? It was embarrassing, not as a fan, but just as a human. Just as a human. Like, what are y'all doing? They were just bitter. And it seems that they're bitter because Shedeur is rich. That's it. Rich, the best QB in the draft, should have been on the Heisman stage. All of the accolades, just like Travis won all of the awards, Shedeur deserved all of the accolades. But then you would have had to give Coach Prime his props. Well, he got it. His contract is long-term and it's healthy. So there you go. It said haters gonna hate. Yep, Gracie. It said I watched some of the guys' pro day on the pregame show. I think they all did a great job. They did. I heard the pregame show did a wonderful job. I should have watched them. But yeah, our players did good. What the pro day showed us and everybody else, it was just a reminder to us. Coach Prime has some talent on that team. I mean, some dogs. And you asked me how many people should get drafted out of 16. I've watched 10 of them. There's 10 people that should get drafted. I can't tell you where. I'd have to go watch some more film. But based on what I saw from BJ Green, Chidozie, Cameron Silmer-Craig, I didn't see Cameron Silmer-Craig work out, but I heard he ran a 4.59. Notice nobody said anything about his 4.59. Just Shiloh's. And that was Shiloh's third run. See? And then Shedeur, Travis, the rest of the guys. Jimmy Horn Jr., can't say enough about Jimmy Horn Jr. I mean, every time we see him, his draft stock just keeps elevating. I said Jimmy Horn Jr. should be a late first round draft pick, and I stand by it. Let's see. But yeah, you can't take away from the fact that Shilo works hard, and there are players that have been drafted off the strength of their what they call their junior season. For Shilo, that's the first year at CU, even though he was he graduated already. But he was at CU for 2 years. So his first year at CU, and hell, most of the games except for the Kansas State game, and then his performance at the Shrine Bowl, his performance at they tried to say he didn't do well at the Shrine Bowl. He did well at the Shine Bowl. Shilo will for sure get drafted. Yeah, and not just because his name is Sanders. If you look at his numbers, if you look at his film, despite the fact that it says Sanders on the back, or you didn't know it was Coach Prime's son, or he was at Colorado, then yeah, he would. People were like, if he'd have stayed at South Carolina, he would have got invited to the pro day. I said, so what you're saying is politics. That's what you're saying. You're saying it's politics. If he's the same person as he is today at CU, then if he would have got invited to the combine, or he for sure would get drafted from South Carolina, then it's not because his last name is Sanders. It's because he's at CU and they don't want to see Coach Prime win. And in order to say he's winning, to acknowledge the fact that he could have 10 guys easily get drafted across all 7 rounds. I say rounds 1 through 5, all 10 of them. Then that would mean Coach Prime is what? He's that guy. So you're right. Thank you, Kiel. I appreciate it. It says, I think most of them increase their draft stock for pro day. I agree. And I think what they did was, especially Shedeur, it dispelled the myth. They just lies. It dispels the lies that were being told about him. That's what was it? Cleveland's Stefanski. I've heard him talk about him a couple of times. And, you know, that's what he was basically saying. He said, no, we don't have any concerns about his arm. He's hella accurate. That's what I mean by people are really out here saying shit that don't make no sense. How can he be the most accurate but have a weak arm? And then he's not just accurate. He has deep ball accuracy. So does Caden Salter and Juju Lewis. And I saw another 2025 prospectus. This is the second one about QBs for 2025. And CU was not even mentioned. Politics. And I need people to call it out. I need people to stop saying that Justin Fields has to prove himself and Daniel Jones can get paid for 1 year, $14 million to prove himself after being in the league. How many years? That's politics. I need somebody to start calling out the politics in college football and in the NFL when it comes to Black athletes. It's clear that Black athletes get degraded more and they have to earn every single thing. But then we have these white QBs coming in and they just want to give them a free pair of skates to the first round or to the top 10 with absolutely no explanation other than this is just what I want to do. Well, just say that then. Don't knock Shedeur because you want Jackson Dart in the top 10. Just say that that's what you want, even though it don't make sense. Because how you going to get Jackson Dart over 437 Jalen Milroe? Who, by the way, took his team to an SEC title game. So even when you're in the SEC, even when you're in the SEC, you still, as a Black quarterback, have to earn it. And all Black quarterbacks going to Alabama need to understand that. Keelan Russell. Okay, so yes, Gracie, I agree. The haters are going to hate. The Browns bought 13 members of their team. Yup. It said that would be a revenue generator for the Falcons if they drafted Shilo. Any team that gets Shilo. Remember, agreed. Who is that, Gracie? Remember when Shilo was at the Shrine Bowl? Does anybody remember all of the media that kept crowding around him to talk to him? That's going to happen in the NFL. Maybe they didn't want him at the combine because then Travis would have had all the media. Shedeur had all the media. Shilo would have all of the media. And they played different positions. You know, Travis, he's a two-way player and had all of the media. Shedeur is a QB, had all media. And even Jimmy Horn Jr. and LeJontay had a good crowd around them. Then throw Shilo into the mix with the DBs or the safeties. That's a lot of press for CU. I think Shilo getting drafted by the Cowboys. Oh, I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. The Falcons, the Cowboys, hell, the Saints, I don't care. Shilo, whatever team he goes to, they getting a hard worker. They getting a damn good safety. And they getting somebody that also has star power. To me, Shilo and Shedeur don't need to be on the same team. I think this is where they go to two separate teams. and you take Shedeur and Jimmy Horn Jr. from CU and you put them on the same team, and then you have Shilo on another team. Hell, Shilo, you never know. Shilo could end up with Will Shepherd or somebody, because they were talking about Will Shepherd and LeJounte both would be a good fit for Dallas. I'm thinking Shilo might get drafted by Denver. That's possible. Denver has a number of people there as well. I was surprised by that. Maybe because it's Colorado, I didn't expect it. I saw Sean Payton talking to, I think, Coach Prime. Was Sean Payton talking to Shedeur? I think he might have been talking to Shedeur. And they said LeJounte and Will Shepherd. Scouts told Will Shepherd he made some money today. And they say LeJounte was being interviewed by everybody. So, blessings, family. Hey, Mary, how you doing? I see you, my beautiful sister. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Crowley, too. And it says, Jerry said Denver would be a good fit for Shilo as well. Ooh, I like that. I'm happy wherever Shilo go. I just want them to stop hating on these young men who are just absolutely of great character. That's what I want to stop. I want to stop that. That's just, I don't think you have to, for clicks, degrade someone. So what that means is I don't agree when they say, oh, Shedeur names brings clicks, so let's drag him. I don't think it's that. I don't. I think the fact that people are demanding an apology about Arch Manning, somebody merely asking, what is all the hype about? Somebody wanted an apology, a question. What is all the hype about? So the man was attempting to be real and ask a question, and now people are demanding an apology. A lot of talent coming from Colorado. Yep. They said that Coach Prime has made an offer for the class of 2028 to Champ Bailey's son. So Champ Bailey was there. We talked about that. He was on the sidelines giving advice to DJ McKinney and two other players. And I saw an interview or like a video where I guess it was the scrimmage for practice for CU. And he got up in the front and he spoke to the team. And then later it was revealed that Coach Prime offered his son the class of 2028. So that leads me to wonder if Coach Prime is going to make an offer to Travis Hunter's brother, Travis. Because if he extended an offer to somebody in 2028, I think Travis has maybe this year left, and he will be 2027. I think he's class of 2026. So yeah, he will be 2027. So that remains to be seen. Like I told y'all, Travis Hunter was getting a lot of love from the NFL Network, which I thought was great. I think more attention should be given to OT, 7-on-7 football. Coach Prime was talking to Denver defensive coach and the head coach for Denver. Yeah, Denver must have been stacked pretty deep. Because I know I saw Sean Payton, so that's pretty good. But I think they've always had a good relationship. I remember maybe last season, the first season, Shedeur and Shilo and Coach Prime were in a box at the Denver Broncos game. And I remember thinking, oh, what if that would be something if Shedeur went to, the Broncos? Why is the fans in New York want the Giants not to keep Jameis Winston because of something he said about his last team, Cleveland Browns? I'm not sure if you heard. No, I didn't hear about that. I don't know. I don't know. That whole New York situation, I'm telling y'all. All of this talk about the Giants, and I know I saw the person from the Giants talking to Coach Prime. I feel like it's a setup. I'm telling y'all, I've said it before. The Giants are gonna make an asinine move, and I'm not saying it's gonna turn out to be like Daniel Jones. They're gonna draft somebody, but it ain't gonna be who you think it is. It's probably not gonna be Travis, and it's probably not gonna be Shedeur. Let's see if it's Jackson Dart. And then here's the thing: if they don't draft the quarterback, because people are starting to get a little squirrely, that Russell Wilson would start in New York. I told y'all they playing with the man. That's just how I feel. So we keep an eye on that third pick. Are they going to trade it? Are they going to take Jackson Dart? And if they do take Jackson Dart, what are they going to do with him? Is he going to start and Russell Wilson going to back up Jackson Dart? Then I would be right that they playing in that man's face. So we shall see. New York, people keep wanting to see what Tennessee gonna do. I don't really care anymore what Tennessee does. Our eyes gonna be on the Giants because remember their GM is in the hot seat. Myers did pretty good. Okay, Regina, he did. Thank you because I didn't see him. I didn't see him work out. Hey, Melanie, it says hello. What do you think of Bentley on defense? I like Levonta Bentley. Did y'all see him work out? I didn't see him work out. I like Levonta Bentley. Number 20, right? Yeah, I think he was pretty good. I'm sick of my Titans. Yeah, me too, Regina. Me, you, and Gracie was going to get together and get us a Sanders jersey, but that's not going to happen. Even though the Titans have scheduled a private workout with Shedeur, they came in droves, and after it was said they weren't going to be there, they showed up a couple of people deep. That's what people aren't talking about. It was discussed at certain teams, but CU showcase, ain't too hard to find showcase, was hella successful. Let's see who emulates, and they should. What other school does the same thing next year? And they should. What people were discussing is no other pro day at any university had the number of people, celebrities, and had scouts 6-7 deep from multiple teams. CU was loaded with talent last year. They're going to be loaded with talent this year. It says some of the NFL teams may be speculating he may have trouble getting around right tackles or left tackles, or they probably say he's not strong enough or he can't leverage his height-wise, get enough height-wise. Who are you talking about, Kiel? Are you talking about Levonta Bentley, or are you talking about BJ Green? Because you said height-wise. I'm thinking BJ Green, but I want to find out. Kiel said because some NFL teams may think he's undersized to be a defensive end and probably not quick enough to be a linebacker. There are just some ways to look at this situation. Okay, I think we talking about BJ Green. Okay. It said Daniel Jones been a garbage truck since he been in the league. Right. And they gave him $14 million to prove himself. But Justin Fields gotta prove himself after he only been in the league 2 years. I'm like, y'all crazy. I'm like, that's what I meant by black QBs have to earn it. But, it's kind of good. It's not good that this is happening to Shedeur. The good that's coming from it is now you see who you're dealing with. This wasn't only just college. This kind of bias and prejudice exists at the NFL level. So, leaving CU, is bittersweet because, you feel like, okay, I kind of get away from the sabotage, from the refs, trying to sabotage the game, etc. But then you walking right into the NFL. And then, you got the media just trying to disparage you. And all you did was just be a good person. But that comes from being bitter about these young men coming out of college having money. We talked about that. Remember, I asked y'all when it came to Cam Newton. And mind you, what I've seen from Cam Newton, I like lately. I like him lately. Sometimes you got to start over with people. I don't have no issue with saying that. And so far, he's been consistently good. And I saw his girlfriend or his fiance, that the one he had the latest child with. I think she said, "Hello, girl." She was on a live stream for like a podcast show with women. And it was like at the Buckhead Theater in Atlanta. She's like a comedian actress. She's really funny too. She was there. And I said, his relationship seems to be going to a different place. And it could be because he's at a different place in, his situation. I haven't seen him on ESPN. I think he might be done with ESPN. I think Louis Riddick has taken his place. So maybe he learned something from that. But it seems like once his girlfriend called him out, basically, it asked why was, maybe he needs to go easy on Shedeur and not be so negative about Shedeur. It seems like he kind of, once she called him out on it, it seemed like he kind of straightened up a little bit. So good. At least he have somebody that maybe he actually listens and considers, the guidance that they're providing. And that could be good for him. I wish him well. Um, it says Damon as a Giants fan, you're 100% correct. It says, yeah, Daniel Jones, like maybe that's why God gave me this podcast, so I can say it. So they refuse to say it. Justin Fields does not need to prove himself. He just only been in the league 2 years. Daniel Jones has been in the league at least 5 years, at least. And they doubled down on him, and it still didn't amount to nothing. And they still gave him a 1-year contract for $14 million to prove himself. It appears that in the NFL, black QBs have to earn it. And even when they earn it, in the case of Russell Wilson, it's still not enough. 10 Pro Bowls. And all you want to talk about is he been to 3 teams, rather than the fact that he been to 10 Pro Bowls. And at his 3rd team, he was supposed to be QB2. He started out, he ended up being QB1 and took them folks to the playoffs. And it wasn't him that was the problem on to why they didn't get there. And instead of talking about why they felt the need to usher Russ out of Pittsburgh and into New York, let's see who New York drafts. And then we're going to talk about it. So maybe that's why I got this podcast, so I can see it. Hit the like button and please subscribe so other people who are like-minded can hear it. Oh goodness. So yeah, it said he will have a better line in the NFL. He will, sure. Damon, I hear you, but they already talking about he gonna get baptized and asking is Shedeur gonna be sacked more than Caleb was. Caleb was sacked 65 times, which is supposed to be the most in NFL history. And they already asking, I wonder how many times Shedeur gonna be sacked. So let's see where he ends up. I'm hoping it's New Orleans. And Cooper Flag to the Pelicans. The city will be on fire year round. Between football season, basketball season, Mardi Gras, and New Orleans has a festival every month. A big festival, a big scenario happening. Sugar Bowl, the Bayou Classic. It's just nonstop. It's just nonstop. And they got another bowl. The New Orleans Bowl, is that what they're calling it? The Bayou Bowl or something. I don't know. Another school plays that. So yeah, let's do it. I like it. It says, speak the truth. He's the best QB in the draft. Yep. And that's what fans walked away with the consensus. Not fans, just interested party in the NFL, fans of CU, and people who like football. They were like, he is the best QB. Yeah, he is. And they said he had a 94% completion rate at the showcase. Now, people talking about, now that's good. So there were 3 balls, I think, that were dropped. And I think one was Jimmy, one was Will Shepherd, and one was LeJontay, but that wasn't on Shedeur. What was pointed out was how accurate his passes were, and his deep ball accuracy. But we see that, right? I'm telling y'all. I was thinking, I said, when Coach Prime's time at CU is gone, I don't know who they're going to get next. We say Doc Livingston maybe. But, CU has talent at QB for sure, with Juju and Caden. They might not be talking about Caden. We gonna be talking about Caden. They might not be. They talking about Juju. I can tell y'all, Juju was on the pivot with the Corian. That's his name. He plays for Oregon. I think he started out at LSU or committed to LSU, but switched his commitment to Oregon. So it was the Corian. I don't know his last name, and Juju on an interview with the pivot. Go watch it. I thought it was great. So we already getting the Juju star power off, and Caden. Every time I see Well Off Media, I see Caden throwing the ball. So, I don't know. So there you go. We talented. We talented, and that's what they didn't want to admit last year. Coming off the 4-8, the haters they did not want to admit that CU was talented. Why? Because Coach Prime invented the transfer portal methodology for recruiting. So if I say he's talented, that means it's worked. But Indiana copied it and was successful with it. And as actually one reporter tried to say, whatever the coach's name is at Indiana, that, he invented the transfer portal methodology, and people went in on him. I was dying laughing because I knew what was coming. I was like, bro, get out of here. That man was at James Madison or whatever the school was when Coach Prime was in his last year at Jackson State and was already at his first year at CU. And he used the transfer portal at Jackson State. So, and that's the thing about Coach Prime. His I guess his impact on it's not just on CU, it's on college football. So let's not just do a basic pro day where people just stand around. Let's do a showcase. And that's what it was. That's what it felt like. And then all of the talent that was showcased, people walked away with, saying that several players increased their draft stock. But here's the thing. The fact that most of them, except for Travis and Shedeur, were undrafted free agents. I mean, they had nowhere to go but up, right? What that means is they should have never been labeled potential undrafted free agents in the first place. That's what I mean by black players have to earn it. New York would trade Russell or Winston on draft day. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's the first time I heard that scenario. Okay, Jerry, that's interesting. That is very, very, very interesting. So you think that they're going to trade somebody on draft day? I need to see what that scenario would look like. What team do you think Russell and or Winston would be traded to? Is this where Cleveland comes in? That they want to have 2 first-round picks, so they take Cleveland's first-round pick? It said, I listened to all 4 of your podcasts. Keep up the good work. I enjoyed episode 3 about Travis Hunter. Great work. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for telling me which one you like. People seem to like that one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a new format for me, so I need the feedback. I appreciate you, Crowley. Thank you. Thank you. All right, there's 19 of us in here. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new, but definitely hit the like button. Please, please, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate the feedback. Okay, so I guess we're going to get ready to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow night. All right, so I think we only had 18 days from today until the NFL draft. So since we kind of talked about most of the players, maybe we need to take an opportunity to maybe do a mock draft. There's something I've been saying I want to do. So maybe tomorrow I have the opportunity to look in it and I can assign whoever's live with us that day draft picks. So that means you get to pick for your team. So for instance, if Regina is live with us when we do a mock draft, she might get the 3rd pick for the Giants. And then she would choose who the Giants go to. If Kiel is live, he might get the 1st pick with Tennessee. And then say Queen T might get picked 2, Gracie might get picked 4, and so on and so forth. So, we might see. And then that way we just kind of put it together and see what the What She Said podcast community comes up with for a mock draft. Now, we know we have 16 players who I guess were in the showcase for CU. And I said 10 of them might get drafted. I might go try to find the other 6, their pages, their content, and see if I can find some video to understand how they did so I can make a more informed assessment. But I didn't see everybody work out. So I have to go back and look for Justin Mayers, Travis J, Cordell Thomas, etc. Because some of those guys might surprise us too. It's just I didn't see them on. I think we only saw Shedeur throwing to the wide receivers for the most part. I think that's what was televised. So I have to go back and do some research. Okay, guys. Well, this was awesome. This was awesome. We're going to get ourselves out of here. It is Sunday night. It's rainy. So if y'all are out and about near Atlanta, just be careful. Otherwise, I'll see y'all tomorrow. 10, what is tomorrow? Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank y'all so much for the support. I appreciate y'all being here damn near every day. That means we have a community, and I truly love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. I'm going to say goodnight. Thank y'all so much. Thanks for watching What She Said. Oh, don't forget, the audio podcast, Listen Up, is out there. Like Crowley said, there's 4 episodes. There might be a 5 getting ready to pop up. I already have one locked and loaded. So there's 4 episodes. Let me know which one is your favorite in the comments. Drop some hearts. Thank you so much for watching What She Said, and Listen Up by What She Said Sports. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, welcome fam, Mr. 5. Break it down, talking sports, hard and hustle. Wear the crown, subscribe to the journey. Don't sleep on the grind. Hit the like button, come on, don't be blind. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes, together we rose, reaching higher and higher. From hoops to the griddle, we cover it all. Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes, together we rose, reaching higher and higher. Welcome aboard, let's make it loud. What she say, with her eyes on the crowd.